everyone, welcome to the community classroom. This is Dr. Tracey McCarthy, psychologist, attorney, and educator. And what we're going to be covering today is applying for Social Security disability benefits. We're going to look at how to apply, what is needed to apply, and who might consider applying based upon either a physical or emotional or psychological or education-related disability. There are a number of people who left 2018, but brought with them a number of challenges into 2019. And some of those challenges are related to disabilities and impairments. And so we're going to cover a number of issues related to applying for Social Security benefits for those who need those benefits in order to survive and thrive in life. Now, the information covers the application process for both adults and children, and so there's no separate process for adults or children. And some people might not even be aware of the fact that children are entitled to disability benefits when they've been determined to have an impairment that is covered. And for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time in the community classroom this year, we are wishing each and every one of you a happy new year and a very prosperous and healthy and whole 2019. And before we delve into the actual application process, let's look at some of the potentially disabling conditions that you might want to consider if this is a concern for you or someone in your life. Some of those disabling conditions have to do with childhood impairments and adult impairments, and those can be physical, developmental, mental, educational, emotional, and behavioral impairments. And some examples are things like problems with cognitive issues, and so cognition and thinking problems. And you might have heard or been labeled with something like a learning disorder or dementia or schizophrenia or a psychotic disorder. Another one might be emotional problems such as depression or bipolar disorder or even PTSD. And that's pretty common for many applicants who have served in the military. Another dynamic, and we mentioned this, is developmental disorders, and some of those are things like autism and intellectual disability, ADHD, speech and language impairment challenges. Also educational problems, and those would be learning disorders, and you would first often hear about those from the school situation. Also behavior problems, and for adolescents and children, you will usually hear things like conduct disorder and oppositional defiant disorder. And along with some of the challenges already mentioned are health-related problems related to bodily functioning. And so problems, health impairments related to your skin or lungs, heart, bones, digestion, vision, hearing, autoimmunity, things like diabetes, cancer, problems with walking, talking, sitting, standing, just providing basic self-care, some health impairments related to the reproductive system, the endocrine system itself, the vascular system, the neurological system. Now let's quickly look at how people can apply for disability benefits. There are two ways primarily to apply for disability benefits, and a person can simply go online and apply at www.socialsecurity.gov, or they can call in at 800-772-1213, and they can actually make an appointment to file a disability claim at their local Social Security office. And someone will help them deal with that claim, and they can get them started over the phone with that process. Now, the disability claims interview is you have to prepare for about an hour for that process. And if a person is deaf or they're having hearing problems, they can call the toll-free TTY number, and that is 1-800-325-0778. and these phones are available from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. on business days, and so that's exclusive of the weekend. And one of the helpful things is if you schedule an appointment, they are going to send you out a disability starter kit. And you can use whatever address you can receive mail at. And so if you are homeless and you're listening and you are needing to apply for disability benefits, you can give them the address of the shelter that you're living in, the address of a family member that can collect mail for you. Now, many people ask the question of when should they apply? When should they consider applying for disability benefits? And the answer is pretty simple. People should apply as soon as they become disabled. And so many people have gone for years being disabled, sometimes decades, and they have not received services. They have not received any benefits. And so the sooner that a person applies, the better. Processing the application for disability benefits can take generally 3 to 5 months, and that's just to process the application. And so some of these processes may take a longer period of time, so that's kind of an average amount of time. But in order to apply for benefits, you're going to have to complete the application process for that. And again, you can apply online at ssa.gov and then /apply for disability. And they may be able to actually process your application faster the quicker you can get them the information that they require to look at your claim. And some of that information would be, of course, things like your medical records, mental health and physical health records, and also education records. Some people think that they need an attorney to apply for Social Security disability benefits, and that is not the case. A person can apply on their own. They do not require an attorney or any type of representation. Some people do actually acquire the services of an attorney, but it's not necessary to get that process started. You do, however, have a right to be represented by an attorney or an other qualified person that you choose when you're doing any type of business with Social Security. And so for some people, that's beneficial. Now, there is a publication that you can find online, and it is Your Right to Representation, and it's number 05-175. And remember, no one should be asking you for attorney's fees up front because generally speaking, attorneys only get paid if the client actually wins their disability case and they actually receive benefits. Okay, now let's quickly go over some of the information that will be needed for your application. The first thing is your Social Security number. So you want to have your full name and your Social Security number. If you don't know your Social Security number, you can go by the Social Security office and apply for a replacement for your card. Or if you've never gotten a Social Security number, you can go there and get your initial one, but they can replace it for you if you've lost it or you don't recall it. Another thing that would be required and helpful would be your birth certificate, and for some people that might be a baptismal certificate. You want to have the names, addresses, and phone numbers of your doctors, prior doctors, your current and prior caseworkers, any hospitals that you've been in, clinics that have taken care of you. And if you can remember general dates of your visits, you don't have to remember the exact date of the week. You can, even give a range. If you know that it was around the time that you were, 15 years old, you can give a range in terms of years. If you know the names and the dosages of medications that you take. Now, you can also get this information from the pharmacy. They can actually print out a list of all of that information for you to help you with filling out those forms. Any medical records that you might have from your doctors or your counselors, your therapists, hospitals, clinics, caseworkers that you already have in your possession, that will also be helpful. Now, in the other instance, they can, Social Security Disability can actually get the records for you, or your attorney can get the records for you. But if you have some records in your possession, that will be helpful also. If you have any laboratory or test results, from diagnostic imaging or anything like that. Also, a summary of where you have worked and the type of work you did when you were working. And so you don't have to fill it out like it's a job application, but if you can remember, generally speaking, your work history from the time you started, the places that you've worked, the things that you did when you worked there. And also, if you have a copy of your most recent W-2 form, or if you were self-employed, something like your 1099, or if you have your federal returns for the past year. Now, of course, some people may have never worked, and that's fine. You can just provide that information. And in addition to the basic application for disability benefits, just remember that you're going to need to fill out some other forms. There will be a form that collects information about your medical condition and how it impacts your ability to work, or if you're a child or a parent of a child, how it impacts their ability to perform in school. There will be some other forms that will be provided that will be given to doctors and hospitals and other healthcare providers that may have seen you in the past. And so there will be a request to get permission from you to send the information on your behalf to get information about your medical condition. Now, just remember, the most important thing is do not delay in applying for benefits. If you can get all of this information together for the application process, the quicker they will be able to make a determination about your claim. Now, you can always get a family member or a friend or a caseworker or your nurse to help you with the application process. But remember, if you don't find the information, or you don't have all of the contact information for your doctors and your hospitals, the Social Security can assist you with getting that information. So do not be discouraged by not being able to find it on your own, because they will provide assistance with that. And before we close out, I want to clarify something. There's a misconception that is floating around social media, particularly on YouTube, regarding people being penalized for applying for disability benefits for their children, and perhaps having their children taken away if they don't comply with the demands of the schools after they have applied for disability benefits. To my knowledge, that is inaccurate, and that is not something that people need to concern themselves with in terms of applying for disability benefits for their children. Many children and adolescents benefit from having the benefits. They often have a significant number of additional challenges to deal with and may need more resources in order to deal with those challenges. And so the benefits are beneficial. Remember, knowledge is power. Take care and see you soon.